up against the wall together to let them know we're measuring your standing height?
I can't say our office does, but we made specific decision on the placement of the feet when we did this analysis.
My question to you is the expert. If I'm standing with my feet apart, right? I'm shorter than if I stand with my feet together.
That would be correct. Yes.
By a small amount.
Yes, by a very small amount. Yes, that is correct.
Also, if my posture, like in the one all the way to the left, if shoulders are hunched, and I don't know that I'm big for height to stand up straight, like my mother or my doctor says when they're measuring me, then that may throw it off by a very small margin.
It could, and we addressed that written protocol. I developed I believe it was a 8-page written protocol that every candidate that went through this exam was read the exact same thing, and we did, I believe in that protocol, indicate that they should stand fully erect in a comfortable position with their back to the wall, and then we gave the individual poses that they were to hold for a short period of time while we scanned.
Would it refresh you to take a look at those instructions?
Yes, I could. Yes, please.
Okay, please. And let us know when it helps your memory.
Actually, Counselor, I only have my reports. I don't believe I have my, let me check one real quick. Your Honor, may I access my notes, please?
Yes, you may, if it'll refresh your memory.
I do have the sampling protocol. 1 second. And your specific question about the protocol again, sir, please?
At any point in time, do you tell the person they're now measuring you for height?
At no time were they told we were measuring them for height, I believe.
At any point in time, they told stand with your feet together?
1 second, sir. Could you restate your question again, please, sir?
Feet together.
At no point in the protocol were they told to put their feet together.
All right. Now, again, we're talking about, small margins. You'd agree with that?
I would agree with that, sir. Yes.
Is that without being aware that he's being measured for height, without having his feet together and standing up straight, his head, or the crown of his head, and again we can't tell because of the hair, appears to be, and if we look at the slide that's in the middle, this one right here, if we look at the slide that's in the middle, this one right here, that he's above the tape. Do you see what I circled?
I see what you're referring to, sir. It looks like evaluating that image right now, it looks like his hair has moved, not necessarily the position of the crown of his head.
Now again, we don't have great posture, but at all times you'd agree that he's at least eclipsing the bottom of the tape.
I would agree with that. Yes, sir.
And the bottom of the tape is 6 feet.
That is correct.
The thickness of the tape, 1 to 2 inches?
I'm not aware of the thickness of the tape that they used. It appears it would be consistent with a 1/2 inch to approximately 1/2 inch of tape.
When you say they, you're talking about your people.
The sampling team, correct.
All right, so it's your team that's going out there, so presumably it's your tape.
Correct, and remember that was a positive control, a reference, if you will, to why the scans are going on to do a quick spot check. We know that bottom of that tape is 6 foot, and that was the purpose. Also, the square boxes with the little circles are a verification target.
Now, perhaps we can come to an agreement, an estimate. The top of the tape, 6'1", around, give or take?
Between 6.5 and 6'1" would be a reasonable assessment if it was a half-inch or a 1-inch piece of tape. Yes.
All right. So standing here today, are you able to say that Mr. Robinson, that his accurate standing height is actually 6 feet, and what would that be, about 6 feet
Half-inch.
with proper posture, he could be 6'1", 6'2"?
That is a possibility within the range. If that
This is GPTV1 live stream covering the rapper Ksoo's murder trial.
the focus of the exam was not to measure the height of the individuals.
The government flew you all the way in from Colorado?
That is correct.
They paid for it?
They will pay for it. Yes, that is correct.
And that doesn't go to the 70, 80,000 you've already been paid?
No, that does not.
There's nothing stopping you from taking a tape measure, measuring Mr. Robinson in front of these juries right now, right?
Scientifically, I would not agree to that for many reasons. With a tape measure, the accuracy is just not there. We'd have to have controls. We'd have to have calibrated devices. I would want to measure him 3 times. There are different ways that we would measure him if we weren't going to laser scan him here in the courtroom.
All right, so Mr. Latham, you just told us with all the equipment that you guys brought in and all the scans and all of that it's still not accurate. What I'm asking you is if you had Mr. Robinson stand up, heels against a wall, and you had a stadiometer, you know what that is, right?
I'm not familiar with that is.
All right, so you went to the doctors as a kid, right?
Yes, I did.
Stand on the scale, and then that metal bar, they put it up and they measure you. That's the stadiometer.
Okay.
You could use that to measure him. You could do that. And get more precise than was done with all the lasers and the scans in the digital stuff.
It all depends on the quality of the device and the calibration of that device. The device that was used to scan these individuals was over $100,000, and the individual used it had over
Got to give props when props is due. Ksoo got some good lawyers.
exam. If I'm asked to do a height determination, that is a completely different type of exam than a body morphology analysis. So what I'm saying, counselor, is the scan itself, if you came to me and said, I want to know the definitive height of this individual, then I would have developed a completely different protocol. The most efficient way would be shave the hair off the head and then measure to the crown of the head. But that's a bit intrusive. So we would have to go about that process in different scientific, repeatable, and accurate ways to determine the height.
Measuring him with a ruler doesn't cost 70 or 80 grand, does it?
I don't believe it does.
All right. At the end of the day, and perhaps we can agree on this, you could give the accurate height of Mr. Robinson, but they didn't ask you to do that.
I was not asked to determine the height of any of the individuals specifically. As a result, in a conclusion, some of those heights were determined through various empirical means and through the data that which we collected.
All right. Now, when you say you were never asked, the only one that would be asking you would be them, the government, right?
That would be my client. Well,
your client.
To some degree, when I reviewed the data as a forensic expert with a lot of years under my belt, if the data, sometimes my clients ask me questions of the data that the data don't know what they don't know, and I have to guide them as to what is forensically appropriate with the data they have. So once I've reviewed a preliminary review of the data they have, I then have a detailed discussion with them, a frank and honest discussion with them of what questions can be addressed by this data within a scientific degree of certainty within the available technology of the day.
Mr. Latham, I'm going to re-ask the question. I think that you just answered that in about 100 words. Mr. Robinson, stand up. I'm not asking you to analyze data given to them. I'm asking you could measure the height of this human being standing 10 feet in front of you right now, right?
If I had the proper equipment and protocol, yes, I could.
Take a seat. Now, you have no reason to believe that Mr. Robinson, when the case happened, is in his early 20s. You have no reason to believe that he's grown since then, right?
I have no knowledge either way on that, sir.
Now, if anything, you said a moment ago that this scan was done where?
I believe it was done in a correctional facility.
Because that's where he is, right?
That was my understanding, yes.
All right, so in the time that you go out there and you guys do this scan, that's almost 2 years after the shooting happens, right?
I'm not aware of when the shooting happened, sir. If you give me that date, I could tell you because the scan was done.
January 15th, 2020.
Okay, that's a correct statement, sir, yes. The scan was done in November of 2021.
There's no reason to believe that somebody would gain weight inside of jail, right? You have no reason to believe that?
I have no knowledge either way.
He's not out of custody, still eating that record deal food. He's in there eating what's given to them by the jailer, right?
Knowledge is the food service within the correctional facility.
Now let's go to slide 27. The comparison that you did. Now, medical examiner testified yesterday. You as an expert, did you catch that testimony?
No, I did not.
All right. So Charles McCormick, at the time of his death, was 143 pounds. Is that your understanding?
That's not my understanding. I did not know the weight of any individual in this case.
All right. So the guy on the left is 143 pounds. You'd agree that he's roughly the same size, mass, or at least close to the shooter on the right.
I'm sorry, counselor. I did not do a mass analysis of the individuals or take the weight of any known or decedent individual. I just don't know any weights.
And I'm giving you the information right now. That the two people in this, K1, who's Mr. McCormick, and Q1, who is the shooter, we know, it's known, that the weight of Mr. McCormick from the doctor is 143 pounds. You'd agree with me that the shooter is not appear to be 100 pounds heavier than Mr. McCormick?
What's the grounds? Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
Could you restate the question, sir?
Yeah. We know K1 weighed 143 pounds on that day. Q1, the shooter next to him, that person doesn't look to be 100 pounds heavier, right?
Again, counselor, I did not do any weight analysis. This data is not appropriate for weight analysis. I have no grounds to answer.
They're getting very technical.
To do this in-depth analysis, I'm asking you, both as an expert, but as a human being with common sense, the guy on the left is 143 pounds. Are you telling me the guy on the right is 100 pounds heavier than him? Wasn't answered.
I think the answer was I don't know, so I'm going to sustain the objection.
Mr. Latham, was it I don't know or I can't answer that?
I'm here as an expert on body morphology and a weapon comparison, and I have done no work to assess the weight of any individual, and I don't think I'm qualified and in position to make any assessments about anybody's weight in this data.
All right. So let's go over to height.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong
You
person.
have on here the K1 was 5'10", right?
That is correct.
Now that was the measurement that was given to you from the medical
He's not trained to give out what a person's weight is.
examiner's office.
That is correct.
Now that doesn't factor in the 1-inch shoes that Mr. McCormick would be wearing. The sole of the shoes would add a little bit of height, right?
Can I refer to my notes real quick?
This lawyer's doing a good job.
Let me ask you the question. Let me back up here. The information that you get from the medical examiner's office, when they measure height, they're not doing it with somebody's shoes on.
No, they're not. They're doing it with the bare foot.
K1 is wearing shoes,
That is correct.
and that would add some degree of height.
That is correct.
The sole of the shoe.
The sole which you add to the total height of the individual. That is correct.
Now you do this comparison in between K1 and Q1 to say,
This guy is doing a
quote
good
unquote,
job.
he's at least as
Yes,
tall as Mr. McCormick.
That is correct.
What if I were to tell you that yesterday the medical examiner testified that the 70 inches, the 5'10", was just an estimate?
That would not surprise me.
In that I asked him the question, could he have been 5'9"? Answer, yes. Could he have been 5'11"? Answer, yes. So on here, on this exhibit that you have going to the jury, you can't say that Mr. McCormick with the inch shoes and a potential of an inch shorter or an inch taller was exactly 5'10". That's an estimate.
Correct. That is an estimate. That is correct.
Within a range of a couple of inches.
That would be a fair assessment, yes.
All right. Now, in the comparison here, the bodies are in motion. They look to be the same distance away from the camera, but each one of them is in a different tight motion.
They're in different positions in a similar bend to the major joints, but they're in a similar position, yes.
When the body moves, it drops down, right?
Yes, during the gait and stride, the height of the individual can change.
And you can't say that based on their body posture, the way that their muscles are contracting, the joints are bent, that they're at exactly the same degree of drop.
I would agree with that. They're not in the exact same positions.
Now, let's talk about Q1. HDMI. I'm getting it. Oh, my screen.
That's why it pays to have a good lawyer. I can say the prosecution and the defense, they got good lawyers.
There we go. All right. So, Mr. Latham, what I have on the left is your slide 37. You recognize that, right?
Yes, I do.
And on the right, what I have is a still photo from the dash cam. Now, you can see from the hedge, the photo that I have is a few frames before, and the reason why is because your analysis, the one that you have, everything is past the hedge. All right, so, and we'll go back over and I can show you, but in your example,
Some of this stuff got captured on a dash.
I want you to look at something here. On the right, there's something up underneath that hood, right?
I would assume so, yes.
You can't say where the crown of the head is.
No, I cannot.
You can't say whether that adds an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, right?
That's correct. I cannot assess that.
You're not an expert in that field.
Now on the left, with your overlay, now the overlay, the yellow thing, that is the model that you created based on the scan of Mr. Robinson, right?
That is correct.
In the scan of Mr. Robinson, he had no shoes on, right?
That's correct. Yes.
And he had no clothes on.
Could you restate that, Counselor? Could you restate your first statement, please?
Of course. And it wasn't fair, so I need to clarify that. The shooter was covered long sleeves, pants, and you don't know what was underneath. Fair?
That's correct. That's a fair statement. Yeah.
When Mr. Robinson was scanned, he was wearing an Under Armour workout shirt and workout shorts.
That is correct.
No shoes on.
No shoes on. That is correct.
Nothing on his head.
Nothing on his head other than his hair.
All right. Now, in your overlay, the model, the yellow outline of Mr. Robinson, nothing on his head, no shoes, not the same amount of clothes, is the same size as the shooter wearing shoes adding 1 inch, wearing clothes with you don't know how many layers. In the head, the top of the yellow line, again, Mr. Robinson, when you make that model, doesn't have anything on his head, is at the top of whatever's under that hood. You see that, right?
I'm a little confused, Counselor. Can we clarify? The image on the left is not that is not the scan of K2. That is the kinematic model overlay to verify the model. That is not the scan of. We did not take the scan of any individual and place them back in the video over Q1. That what is represented on the left is actually the kinematic model itself to assess the joint position of that model for this particular frame. That model on the left is not K2.
Is your testimony that model is not created by the scans that you made? You have Mark Johnson that come all the way down here to scan all the people, right?
That's correct.
Then Mark Johnson makes the kinematic model.
Based on the camera match overlay from the Q1 images only.
You lose me with all the science jargon.
They went down, they did the scan. When we
What
did
I just
the video
say.
and we laid it over the 3D point cloud, we only used the video camera match overlay, that stitched together 2D, 3D, to generate that kinematic model of Q1. At no time did K2, 3, or 4 were they used for the purpose of generating that kinematic model.
Like I said, they will lose you with all this technology.
The yellow
Technical.
outline of what they call the skin of the model. When we generate these models, we identify it as a humanoid, so the major joints are in this model. And then the joints are moved to match the appearance of the CAMH overlay frame. The yellow line is the outer boundaries of that, so we can see how well that model fits that particular frame. Then we go to the next frame and repeat that process.
I'm with you now. What you're talking about is, what you're really looking at is where the joints are.
It's not only where the joints are, because this is what we call, here's another term, iterative process. You go to the first frame, you develop the model. Then you go to the second frame, and that model carries over to the next frame, and you move the joints. It doesn't mean that you can lengthen or shorten a given angle.
Hear me out.
Yes, sir.
So I want to make sure you're not saying that is an outline of the body of Mr. Robinson matched up against a shooting that.
Absolutely not. It is not.
But you created this model based on where his joints are.
Where the Q1 joint on the camera match overlay frames.
Right in my head.
Ah,
And use this. This model is influenced by the joint placement of my client, Mr.
like I said,
Robinson.
this stuff will lose you.
It's not.
So then what's the relevance to Robinson being analyzed?
The relevance is we have an unknown individual depicted in a video. We have 3 individuals that we have the luxury of getting very detailed data from those individuals. The individuals in this video, both the decedent and the Q1 individual, we never see them standing up. The power of the body morphology analysis is, if we model the Q individual correctly, repeatably, accurately, in the 3D space at scale, we can put that model in any position we want, including standing.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform made for
Back into the laboratory, take the video data, once we confirm the model matches, and then take any scanned person on the planet and do an analysis in any position. In traditional height determination, the subject of the evaluation must be standing relatively erect.
Makes no sense.
We must be able to see the feet, knees, hips, crown of the head. In this case, I can't see the crown of the head of Q1. They're wearing a head covering. They're in a running position, so I never see this individual standing relatively, they're not walking through the scene where we can see at some point their feet are close together. They're in a relatively stable position. Here they're running. The only way to forensically and scientifically evaluate the overall size of this individual was to generate this kinematic model and in 3D space stand it up. Then with that Q1 model stood up, we have very accurate, very detailed data of 3 individuals. We then placed those side by side. That was the final slides where you have the Q1 shooter in the running position. You then have the Q1.
This stuff is very technical. Hopefully y'all keep it along.
All right, so we've explained to the jury, this is not you trying to say that it matches up, but you took this model that you made, and then
He's even confusing his lawyer.
That is correct.
okay. And you can say within a certain degree it could be him.
It's possible, yes, it could be.
All right. Not beyond a reasonable doubt?
I don't have any data to assess any strength of that relationship.
All right, and what you're looking at, you're not looking at the overall match. You're not looking, you know, does a shooter have a belly? Does my client have a belly? You're not looking at that.
No,
guy looks slender.
particularly in this exam, we're looking at the large bowing joints and, hips, knees, ankles, shoulders. And again, the head was in there, but not as a reference point, because again, in Q1, we cannot see the crown or top of the head or where the hair ends or begins, and even if there is hair.
You're not taking a look, for instance, the shooter on the right. Your Honor, if I can be crass, he ain't got no butt. It's flat. Right?
It's the anatomy of that individual is the anatomy of that individual depicted in the image.
But you didn't have your experts go, let's take a look and see if that's consistent with Mr. Robinson, right?
No.
No, I did not.
All right, but what you're looking at, Mr. Robinson, stand up here for me. What you're looking at is where his elbow is, right? Where his wrist is, right?
Correct.
Where his shoulders are.
Correct.
Hips,
Correct.
knees.
Correct.
So to exclude anybody that's roughly the same high as Mr. Robinson, you'd have to scan all of those people, right?
That would be the most accurate to do it, to give apples to apples comparison of the protocol that we used, yes.
Sitting here today, you couldn't exclude me as a shooter.
Without doing the exam and putting you through the same protocol that everybody else went through, I would not be comfortable.
Use the defendant as the example.
Now, last thing, with respect to my client and his joints and all of that, there's nothing unique about it. He doesn't have a third arm, an extra knee.
Not that I'm aware of.
It's consistent with a human being.
It's consistent with a bipedal human being.
Now, well, you say bipedal. We're all bipedal.
Some individuals only have one leg, some individuals have none, so I would classify them as non-bipedal.
Okay, so at best, what you can tell this jury is that the shooter was a human being with both legs, right?
Correct.
Could be white, could be black,
Could be
Could be other-
Hispanic.
Race is unknown, that is correct.
could be male, could be female,
Gender is unknown, that is correct.
could be heavy, could be average,
Weight was not assessed in this examination, and that is correct.
could be 5'9", could be 6'3".
The height of the individuals in this exam were not evaluated in a forensic manner.
He ain't got no
Your Honor,
dog
if I
in
could
this
have one
fight.
moment.
Okay.
This witness does not have a dog in this fight. He's getting paid to sit on that stand.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right,
Neutral.
thank you. Redirect.
That is correct. They're excluded from the body morphology exam. Hakeem Robinson was not excluded from the body morphology exam results.
That's the prosecution.
All right, may this witness be excused? All right,
Can't
thank you,
say,
Mr. Latham. You're excused and free to go.
can't say the defense got a good lawyer. You got to give props where props is due. I'll give it to the prosecution or the defense. If you got a good lawyer, you just got a good lawyer. And right now, both sides are actually doing a good job, in my opinion. But this is a deep case. It's gaining national attention for sure. Let's see what they're talking about.
Do we need to excuse the jury then, or? Yes. Okay. We're going to just need 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to let you step into your jury rooms quickly, and then we'll bring you out here just as soon as we can. Thank you so much.
So for those who don't know what's going on, this is the rapper Ksoo. Like, as you can see, the ticker right here, Jacksonville rapper Ksoo's murder trial continues, where this guy He's actually got 2 murder cases. This is one of them. Then he got another one coming right behind this. And all this stuff supposedly is behind diss records and diss tracks in the drill music industry or a genre. You know, I don't follow I hear a lot of news about this drill rap, and it's usually wrapped around violence and people dissing each other, and they dissing each other ops and smoking on the dead and all that. In the gang culture, they take that as disrespect. So they gonna get up with you. They're gonna try to get up with you. That's just how that industry goes. So a lot of the old heads and hip hop people that listen to this stuff, they think it's gangster rap on steroids. You know, I came up in a gangster rap era. You know, I never listened to gangster rap and wanted to go do a drive-by. I just bumped it in the car. You know, I like the music, I like the beats and all that type stuff, but it didn't make me want to go join gangs and all that type stuff. And this guy right here just got a record deal. He just got a record deal, and now he's sitting up there on a murder charge. On another local rapper that probably was just buzzing around Jacksonville, this diss record, it didn't have a lot of national attention to it, but still, people can instigate stuff. And the drill rap scene, they got like this cult following. And a lot of this stuff is on the internet, and they be gassing up the rappers or whatever to go take out slide for their homies and all that type stuff. So that's sort of what Lil Durk is going through. Lil Durk right now, you know, people speculate, or other podcasters speculate, that the fans gassed them up to commit that hit. You know, slide for Vaughn, slide for Vaughn. So the fans be gassing up a lot of this stuff too. They got a cult following where these guys be getting online and they be dissing each other directly and subliminally. And the fans just be gassing it all up. So I'm pretty sure the fans in Jacksonville had a lot to do with gassing this flame right here. But that's just how the drill music is. I seen some of this stuff. I didn't know until I saw it online myself. There was some guys up there in Chicago. They were just online, just going ham on the ops, you know. Then they started making music videos and they putting all these guns. Once you put those guns in the videos and all that stuff, psychologically, it tells that the ops or the other people that you very dangerous. That's what gets in their mind. Like, look at these folks with all these guns, and they be having some heavy artillery too. Literally, like, where's y'all getting all these guns from? And but once they see those music videos and you got all these heavy artillery, the ops look at that like, man, these guys are dangerous right here. We got to bring the funk with these guys. We cannot play with these guys. We got to go straight at them, like whatever. So, you know, but that's the drill music. This courtroom is taking a little break right now, and I'm gonna do the same. Grab me something to drink. Y'all grab y'all something to drink. Grab y'all snack, because this case right here is just heating up, and his father even testifying against him. So, but we'll see. We'll be right back. So they're back in session right now. Shouts out to Angela Hornsby. Thanks for
Because
the.
there is evidence, as I think I understood, and as Ms. Schlack's motion in limine on behalf of her client was that he would be testifying about some things that would be admissible with Mr. Hakeem Robinson, but would not be admissible for Mr. Whitaker. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, although I think we completely understand that one issue, and I think Ms. Gloss is prepared to, however the court wants her to see, she's completing her cross-examination, that it is now at that time where there's a matter that needs to be taken up outside the presence of witnesses.
And does Mr. Barner understand that? Because that's my concern, is I don't want him to inadvertently say something that would then potentially cause a mistrial for Mr. Whitaker if he were to say something that was not admissible in your case, or vice versa with Mr. Robinson.
So, Your Honor, if you recall, the issues initially with the severance that were cured by the state agreeing not to bring in certain statements that Arnold was going to say, that Leroy said in the car after they were picked up, and I was told that they are not going to listen to that. That's fine. So that takes care of that issue. The one issue with us was there is one thing that I was thinking of possibly going, it's one thing that would be admissible. I haven't even decided yet if I'm going to elicit that. I just haven't decided yet.
Okay.
So, because there is a likelihood that we'll go through my entire process and I might not elicit that, depending on how things play out. If it looks like and that will be later in the cross, that it looks like I would like to introduce that one particular piece of evidence about the prior ballot act of Leroy Whitaker. So just get them out, and then if I have to bring mine, and that's only if I decide there's a high likelihood I may.
They debating over something.
And there is no other topic or subject matter that would necessitate the exclusion of one jury over the other that you all can think about? I mean, you know the facts better than I. I don't want to run the risk, again, of Mr. Barner saying something that would cause a mistrial for either one of you. If you all are agreeing to do a joint cross, that's one thing. I could do separate crosses as suggested, or we could continue on as we have been with other witnesses. But if there is anything that one jury should not hear, and you elicit it, that could pose a problem.
I don't intend on eliciting a judge. The main thing was, and I believe Ms. Cooper said, is just the time that they were in the vehicle after Senior picks them up. Barner and his depot had indicated that Leroy Whitaker had said, Ksoo ran the other way. They agreed that they're not going to, because that would be inadmissible hearsay against Mr. Robinson, although admissible against Mr. Whitaker. They agreed that they're not going to bring that in.
Can't really hear what she's saying.
While they're doing their direct, because it's
What the debate is about. We can hear what the judge saying.
get into the arena about getting into the vehicle, and he's just instructed, you are not allowed to say anything.
These are the things that got to happen in the court.
All right, and that's correct, then y'all are not going to introduce anything that was said in the vehicle afterwards? Okay.
I don't anticipate this being talking about direct. Defense is not entitled to have both crosses before their own particular jury. We've done it out of convenience to the state's own interest. They're not entitled to have.
I understand, but we have a joint trial for a reason, and I just as soon proceed as we have been before. So we'll, first of all, obviously get started, get your direct, and then we'll do Mr. Whitaker's cross and then Mr. Robinson's cross. And either Ms. Schlack's or Ms. Kawas, if you're doing the cross, if there is any area that you want to get into that you know legally is not admissible in the other, please advise me so that we can excuse the appropriate juror at the correct time.
And just to not bring attention to it, Judge, I would just, Your Honor, at this time, would not even take a comment break instead of saying, hey, Judge, can I come sidebar?
Well, you'd have to come sidebar, but when I've done two juries before, you can simply say, at this time, Your Honor, I'd ask that the jury for Mr. Whitaker be excused, or whoever you need to excuse. They know we're having two juries for two reasons. We've done two separate openings. We're going to do separate closings. So I don't have a problem with them knowing that one jury has to come out because they can't hear what's coming next. All right, all right, then if all sides are ready.
And that's another thing about this case. They got two juries for these two guys.
Anything we need to take up before we bring him out from the state, from Mr. Whitaker, and from Mr. Robinson? All right, let's bring the juries out. Of course.
I ordered 200 hand-forged knives to my dorm room and built a Wix website to sell them.
What happened? Okay, everyone may take their seats. Thank you. And state, you may call your next witness. All right, Mr. Barner, if you'll have a seat right there in the chair, or turn around to be sworn.
Now, who is this guy?
All right, sir.
Remember,
Please sit closely to that microphone and speak loudly and clearly.
they got people testifying against them too.
Thank you. Hey, police court.
Yes.
Would you, sir, would you please state and spell your name?
Dominique Barner, Dominique Barner.
And how old are you today?
Say what?
How old are you today?
31.
When's your birthday?
October 31st, 93.
And did you graduate from high school?
No,
When did you stop going to school?
in the 10th grade.
Approximately how tall are you?
5'7".
Do you have any tattoos?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any tattoos on your arms?
Yes, sir.
All right, what kind of tattoos do you have on your arms?
Money
I
sign.
think this is supposed to be the snitch. Let me check that.
My name, my daddy name, my daughter name,
On your left forearm, for example, what do you have tattooed?
birth year,
What is that?
1903.
That one. Right arm, forearm.
My name.
You have a nickname.
Yes, sir.
What is your nickname?
Bottle.
And is that B-U-T-T-A?
Yes, sir.
And how did you name?
It's a family name.
Did your dad have the same nickname?
Yes, sir.
Is your dad still alive?
No, sir.
How old were you when your dad passed?
11.
When were you taken into custody on the charges you currently have pending?
January 15th, 2020.
And how old were you at that time?
26.
And have you remained in custody since that day?
Yes, sir.
Have you Boulevard on January 15th, 2020?
Yes, sir.
And today, are
Yes, sir.
and what's that person's name?
Barbara Buckley.
Prior to that day, did you know who she was?
No.
Since The burglary, assault or battery, and home invasion, they're for the same offense?
Yes, sir.
Is it your understanding only be sentenced on one of those offenses?
Yes, sir.
And do you have a co-defendant in that burglary charge?
Yes, sir.
Right. And what's the name of your co-defendant in the burglary charge?
Leroy Whitaker.
Do you see Leroy Whitaker in the courtroom here
Leroy
today?
Yes,
Whitaker.
sir.
Can you please tell us where he is seated and what he is wearing?
He got on blue and white.
Now, this is the guy that the defense say orchestrated this whole
Sitting next to his
ordeal.
lawyer.
Which table?
He's testifying against them. He's saying he was
Record
just the
reflects who has
driver.
identified Mr. Whitaker.
Okay, the record shall so reflect.
Have you also been charged with second-degree murder for your involvement in the murder of Charles McCormick on January 15, 2020?
Yes, sir.
And who are the other individuals that have been charged with the murder of Charles McCormick along with you?
Leroy Whitaker, Hakeem Robinson, and Abdul Robinson
Bill Robinson.
Jr.
And do you see Hakeem
That's the
Robinson
brother.
in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
If you see him, can you tell us where he is seated and what he is wearing?
He's in a bike row. Got on blue and white.
And you said back, I
Bombshell.
missed the first part.
Got on blue and white.
And where is he seated in the courtroom?
At the second table.
Your Honor, with the record reflect witnesses identified Hakeem Robinson.
All right, the record shall so reflect.
Had you also been charged with aggravated fleeing and attempting to elude a law enforcement officer?
Yes, sir.
And while you're in custody for the murder of Charles McCormick, did you also get charged by the state with a second murder involving Damon Rothermel?
Yes, sir.
And when did Damon Rothermel's murder take place?
January 31st, 2019.
Do you have co-defendants in that case?
Yes, sir.
All right. Specifically, who are your co-defendants in the Damon Rothermel murder case?
Christopher Brown and Derek
You got
Hudson.
another case pending?
And is Abdul Robinson Sr. a co-defendant in that case as well?
Yes, sir.
In August of 2020, did you agree to cooperate and testify against your co-defendants in all of your cases?
Yes, sir.
And then on September 10th of 2020, did you enter pleas of guilty to the court on those charges?
Yes, sir.
So you pled guilty to second-degree murder for the Damon Rothermel case,
Yes, sir.
as well as the Charles McCormick murder,
Yes, sir.
burglary with assault or battery,
Yes, sir.
and the aggravated fleeing or attempting to
Right.
elude.
Yes, sir.
And for each and every one of those charges, who did you plead guilty to?
Judge Salvador.
And today, have you been sentenced?
No, sir.
Who ultimately is going to decide what sentence you receive?
Judge Salvador.
Have you been you
You
will
ain't got
receive
nothing to
any
lose.
specific sentence based on your cooperation?
No, sir.
Receive any specific sentence based on your cooperation?
No, sir.
Receive any specific sentence based on your cooperation?
No, sir.
That you pled to?
Yes, sir.
And what is your guideline score?
41.8 years.
And so that 41.8 years, does that reflect the lowest sentence the judge should sentence you to without a legal reason to go below?
Yes, sir.
Now, is your cooperation Does that provide a legal basis that allows the court to go below 41.8 years if the court thinks that's appropriate?
Yes, sir.
But does the court have to?
No.
What is the absolute minimum sentence you can get?
With
At sentencing, what's the minimum sentence the court can sentence you to?
20 years.
You're going for that 20. You're going for that 20.
And then again, even
You
with
ain't got
your
nothing to
cooperation,
lose.
20 years up to.
Life.
Now, do you
You
hope
31?
that this court will consider your cooperation?
Yes, sir.
Are you hopeful to get the best possible
course.
sentence you can get?
Yes, sir.
And that would be 20 years in prison.
Yes, sir.
But are you prepared for the possibility you may spend the rest of your life in prison?
Yes, sir.
40
This
years.
judge thinks
You
you are
31?
lying. Do you think that is good for you or bad for you?
Bad.
Do you know someone named Abdul Robinson Sr.?
That's the brother.
Yes, sir.
How do you know him?
I knew him since I was young.
Are you related to him?
No.
All right. So how did you know him when you were young?
Well, he's a friend of my dad.
What do you call Abdul Robinson Sr.?
Blue. Big homie.
Do you know where Abdul Robinson Sr. was living back in 2020?
Not specifically.
What areas of town?
Northwest.
Does Abdul Robinson Sr. have any children?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you know some of them?
Yes, sir.
Do you know Abdul Robinson Jr.?
Yes, sir.
What is Abdul Robinson Jr.'s nickname?
Kareem.
Do you recall how old you were when you first met Kareem?
Yes, sir.
Approximately how old?
9 years old.
Were you in school?
Yes, sir.
And did you become friends with Kareem?
Yes, sir.
Do you know someone whose nickname is K Crazy?
Yes, sir.
Who's that?
Kareem.
Okay. So he has two nicknames.
Yes, sir.
Do you also know someone whose nickname is Fula?
Yes, sir.
Who's Fula?
It's Blue first son.
Is that Abdul Robinson Jr., Kareem's brother?
Yes, sir.
Does Abdul Robinson Jr. and Fula actually have the same first and last name?
Yes, sir.
When did you meet Fula?
In 5th grade.
Was that around the time that you also met Kareem?
No, sir. Before.
Before? What school were you going to?
Beacon Elementary.
Did you become friends with Fula?
Yes, sir.
And you obviously know an individual named Hakeem Robinson.
Yes, sir.
Who is Hakeem Robinson related to?
Related to Kareem and Fula.
And is Abdul Robinson Sr. his father?
Yes, sir.
Do you know Hakeem Robinson's mother's name?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Ebony.
Can you say it louder?
Ebony.
Ebony? What's the age difference between Hakeem Robinson and his brother Abdul Jr., Kareem?
One was born 94. One was born 98.
Do you know anything else about their birth date that's interesting?
It's on the same day.
Okay. Approximately how old were you when you met Hakeem Robinson?
Right. I know it was 2015.
You think that it was around that time?
Yeah.
All right. So do you know around how old he would have been, Hakeem?
Like 18.
This is a bombshell.
Do you recall where you were when you first met Hakeem?
Yes, sir.
Where was that?
Timber Run Apartments.
Is that here in Jacksonville?
Yeah. 103rd.
Now, when you first saw Hakeem Robinson out of that apartment complex, did you know who he was?
Yes, sir.
Did he know who you were?
No, sir.
After seeing Hakeem out of that complex, did you, or did Hakeem become aware that you were friends with his brothers?
Yes, sir.
Does Hakeem Robinson have any nicknames?
Yes, sir.
What are they?
Ksoo.
All right.
Kimi.
Kimi?
Kimi and Ksoo.
Okay, so. Do you know someone, you identify Leroy Whitaker, how do you know him?
I know him through his cousin.
All right, who's his cousin?
We call him Popeye, but his name Mark Clayton.
Is Leroy Whitaker related to Hakeem Robinson in any way?
Yes, sir.
How?
Cousins.
Does Leroy Whitaker have a nickname?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
Scotty.
Yeah, I'll need you to
Scotty.
speak up. I couldn't hear that either.
Scotty.
Okay.
Scotty?
Thank you.
Just make sure you stay close to the microphone.
All right.
Prior to January 15th of 2020, did you, Abdul Robinson Jr., Hakeem Robinson, and Leroy Whitaker all spend time together?
Yes, sir.
Was that often,
Yes, sir.
but usually in a group setting?
Yes, sir.
Do you know someone named Torgon Williams?
Yes, sir.
All right. Who is he?
Friend.
Is Torgon Williams related to the Robinsons?
I would say Kareem.
So Abdul Robinson Jr.?
Yeah.
How is Torgon related to him?
They call each other cousins.
Do you recall when approximately you met Torgon?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
Like 2016.
And who introduced you to Torgon?
Fuller.
Fula?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with a local rap group called ATK?
Yes, sir.
Was Abdul Robinson Jr., Kareem, part of ATK?
Yes, sir.
What about Hakeem Robinson?
Yes, sir.
Leroy Whitaker?
Yes, sir.
Torgon Williams?
Yes, sir.
Based on your relationship with that group, and specifically Abdul Robinson Jr. and Hakeem and Leroy Whitaker, did you become associated with ATK?
Yes, sir.
And are you also familiar with another local rap group named Six Block?
Yes, sir.
Do the groups ATK and Six Block get along?
No, sir.
Do they basically hate one another?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the street term ops?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean?
Opponents, opposition.
Are ATK and Six Block ops of one another?
Yes, sir.
Do members of both rap groups put out songs that are disrespectful about other individuals in the other group when they've been hurt or killed?
Yes, sir.
What are those kind of songs often referred to as?
Diss track.
Diss track?
A diss track.
If someone puts out a diss track, can that make them a target of the other group?
Yes, sir.
Turning your attention back to January of 2020, do you recall where you were